There's one thing you need when you're wanting to buy a property, and it's more important than a deposit, but a lot of people don't really understand how big of a factor it is. Obviously, when you're buying a property, the deposit is the first thing that you think about. It's where all of your energy goes, and it's where the main kind of concern is about how you're going to get onto the property ladder. Recently this year, I've seen a number of headlines and news stories about couples who are complaining they can't get onto the property ladder even though they've got a huge deposit. And the reason for this is they often don't have the income to support the property purchase. Banks, when they're looking to lend you money, they assess you as a risk and they want to see how you can afford to pay the loan, not just now but in the future. That's why so many things go into it from their perspective. They look at your income, your job, even your age, and how much income security you have behind you. All of those different things come together for lenders because they want to see what kind of a risk prospect you are to them. At the end of the day, what they're trying to make sure of is that if they give you a loan, you can afford to repay it. So while the deposit is really important, it's also really important to consider your income. So if you're thinking of buying a property in the next 12 to 24 months, one thing I would suggest is that you look at your job and your income and try to keep it as stable as possible. If you're thinking of changing jobs, it might be an idea to consider putting that off until after you've applied for a home loan, or just make sure that you're staying within the same industry. What banks really get cautious about is if they see you jumping from one industry to another, because that makes them worry that maybe your income and your career is a little bit unstable. So they want to see that you've got a really clear and stable job history, because that gives them the confidence that you're going to be employable for the long term and you're going to be able to keep paying your mortgage off. In terms of your income there, a question I get quite a lot is there a minimum amount I need to earn in order to get a home loan? And there's not really that's kind of a how long is a piece of string question, because every bank and lender has different criteria. But odds are there's a lender out there for you. Depending on your specific situation, there'll be different lenders that have policies in place to support you, or policies that mean you're probably less of a preference as a candidate for them. For instance, there's a loan at the moment that's got a very low rate for owner-occupiers and investors, but they want to see that you have at least a 25% deposit and that you earn at least $150,000 a year between both people that are applying for the loan. So if you're a couple applying for the loan, the two of you between you need to be earning at least $150,000. The other caveat for this loan is that you can't be self-employed. You have to have a PAYG income because this particular lender views that as being a little bit less risky. So while that loan would suit one specific type of borrower, it wouldn't suit a different type of borrower. If you're a self-employed person, if you're a contractor, or if your income is less than $150,000 for the household, then you'd need to go with a different lender. And there are plenty of lenders out there to suit that specific circumstance. The bottom line is that you need to work out exactly what your situation is so that you can find a lender to suit you. So if you're thinking about buying a property, income is one of those things that goes along with your spending habits and your personal debts as things that you really need to focus on and get them into shape. Banks don't like to see a lot of unsecured debt like credit cards and frivolous spending. It makes them worry a little bit about your spendings. So if you can spend 6 months getting your bank statements into shape and making sure that you're presenting yourself as the best possible candidate to a bank, you're going to be in the best possible position to get a loan.